Well, hello, welcome to another episode of Jim's Allotment Garden. Well, this week we've been really blessed with hot, dry weather, and I've been making the best of that and getting on. And I've been up here around 2 hours, about 2 hours a night or so. Some nights even more than that. And what I've done is I've dug all the allotments and rotivated it all over. When the sun shines, make hay. Okay, so one job we can be doing this time of year is potting up your tomatoes. Now, these are around 2 inches high. These are the Alicantes, and by the time you get to this, really you want to, you know, as soon as they're big enough to sort of grab hold of, you know, it's time to pot on, because what you don't want to do is to get the roots all tangled in with each other, because what that'll do basically is, you know, when you come to take them out, it'll damage the roots, and tomato roots aren't always that good anyway. So all I've done is I've put my finger underneath the plant without touching the plant itself, and then just pull it out with as much root as you possibly can do. I've just got some of those square pots here, and all I've done is just made a hole in the top. Don't put them in too sort of firmly. You can put them in a little bit deeper than they were in the tray, and then that'll help to support it. Now, when I plant these finally in the beds in the greenhouse, what I will be doing is planting them a little bit deeper than they are, probably about 4 or 5 inches deeper at least. And what you can do, I can't really show you on these plants because they're not big enough, but what you can do is take some of the leaves off. So where you've got these leaves here, these are the seed leaves, but the actual leaves here, what you can do is take some of them off the side of the plant and then plant it below that point, and what that will do is the plant will send out more roots further up the stem, which will basically give the tomato plant more roots, more water going into the plant, more water going into the plant, healthy plant, more tomatoes. So it's basically, you know, even though you lose sort of 4 inches of the plant, that'll soon grow on, and it'll be a stronger plant for it. So you know, you'll end up getting a better yield off the tomato plant. This is where planting tomatoes in grow bags doesn't really work, because grow bags are only really sort of 6 inches deep, and I think you really need to get the root ball of the tomato plant at least a kind of foot under the ground, and then you've got plenty of roots to feed the plant. You know, the deeper you can get the roots, the better, because the plant will throw out more roots from the side anyway. You can actually bury the leaves, and you know, it'll just happen naturally. But I would suggest you take the leaves off, and then it'll send out roots. Now, if you've seen some of my early videos, what you will see is as the plants grow, they naturally send out like roots from the side of the shoot anyway. And what you can do is another method of doing this, which basically gets you the same result, is when you fill the beds that you're going to, or the pots that you put your tomatoes in, don't fill them all the way to the top, and then wait for the plant to grow. And then as soon as the plant gets to, I don't know, 2 or 3 foot high, that's when it'll start to throw out the little the roots from the side of the main stem. And what you can do then is top up the compost in the pot, and this will do 2 things. One, it'll put fresh compost on, which, you know, which will obviously give it a boost of nutrients. But what it'll also do is it'll bury the tomato plant a little bit deeper, which will then in turn give it more roots, and a more stable base and more roots to feed it. So, and this is exactly the same. Obviously, the tomatoes and potatoes are all in the deadly nightshade family, and you do exactly the same trick with a potato. Obviously what you do is you wait for a potato to grow out the ground, and then you hoe it up, which is one method of growing it. And what you'd actually do is you bury the leaves, and in bury the leaves what you'll actually do is give it more roots and potentially more potatoes from the same plant. So it's the same kind of trick, but with a different, the result is you get a larger yield from a given single plant. So that's the potting up the tomatoes. Now all tomatoes are the same. It doesn't matter what variety you grow. Obviously there's something like 700 at least varieties of tomatoes, and they're all growing in the same way. As soon as they get to kind of 2 inches high like that, pot them up. As I say, you can put them a little bit deeper, and then pot them all up. And then as soon as these get to about 6 inches, about 9 inches high, that's the time to plant them out into your final position for them. And then, as I say, you can either plant them a little bit deeper than they are in this pot, or don't quite fill the pots or the beds up as far as you would do finally. And then what you can do is you can top it up later to give the plants a little bit more ability to send roots out from the main stalk. Okay, so the potatoes look like this now. So obviously I've got, these are Morris Piper potatoes, and I've got another load of Kestrel potatoes which look almost identical to this, except for you got little purple bits round the bottom of the eyes really. But as you can see, the chits are now just starting to form kind of little teeny leaves on the end, so that's an ideal time to put them in. So they're all Morris Piper. This is a slightly different variety. This is purple something, I can't quite remember the name of it, but what I'll be doing is knocking some of these chits off so that I've got probably 2 or 3 chits on the top. Ideally you want 2 chits on each potato, I think. 2 or maximum 3, you don't want any more than that. If you have any more than that, just leave the ones at the top of the potato and then just rub the ones off the bottom. So that one there, all you need to do is just take your thumb through it and just rub it off, so all the strength, if you like, goes into the top there. So all I need to do now is plant these potatoes, and what I'll be doing is planting them around between 9 or 10 inches deep in the ground at ground level. And of course what you do is you hoe the ground up around them, so they probably end up being about, probably about 18 inches down, or between a foot and 18 inches down, really dependent on how deep the furrows are. But and then as soon as these start to poke the heads out the top of the ground, so the leaves start to come out of the top, if we're still in danger of any frost, obviously hoe them up again, or put some grass cuttings over the top just to protect them against the frost, and then these will get off to a good start and produce some good potatoes. Okay, so just to show you, this is the ground now fully prepared for the potatoes. So what I've done, obviously, there's been about 7 or 8 barrows full of chicken muck, about 5 or 6 barrows full of rotted down wood chip, and there's been about 3 barrows full of grass cuttings spread all over this. It's been dug over by hand, and then it's been rotivated twice. The reason for doing this is I want the soil to become this fine, sort of fine tilt. And the way to do that is, because it's been a little bit wet, what you do is you rotivate it all over, which brings the moist soil to the top. You let that dry, and then you rotivate it again. In fact, this top part here has actually been rotivated 3 times, but it basically dries out the ground, and then you get this nice fine soil, which is ideal for your potatoes. So all of the muck and the grass and the wood chip and everything has been all mixed in with all of the ground. So it's it's sort of all mixed in with the soil. And now the ground's nice and sort of crumbly, and I can put the potatoes in, and the soil will fall nicely back over onto the potatoes, and and all that goodness is in the ground, and the wood chip will hold all the moisture and that. So that's ideal situations for potatoes. So all I need to do now is put the potatoes in. Okay, so just putting some of the potatoes in. So these are Kestrel sets. These ones are actually bought from a shop, and I'll be putting some in that I saved from last year. But just a few tips on how to put your potatoes in. So what I've done is I've measured out the rows. I grow these like main crops, so I've got the rows about 2.5 foot, 2.5 to 3 foot apart. 2.5 foot is more than enough, to be honest. And what I've done is I've put canes in, and I've run a string from that cane over to there, because that'll be at the top of the where the banked up basically. And as you can see over there, what I've done is I've put it around the top of the cane and then down, and then just tension the string with another stick at the end. So all I need to do now is, without standing on the ground where the potatoes are going, so it's kept nice and loose, this has all been nicely rotivated, is plant the potato around 9 or so inches down to a foot down, and then plant the potatoes about 15 inches to 16 inches apart, going along. So in each row I should get around 15 or 16 potatoes. Okay, so the first potato is going to go here. So as you can see, the ground's nice and loose, and that's really important for your potatoes, because what you want is for them to get off to a good start. Now I've put that down as deep as that, so that's best part of a foot really, about 10 inches. And then get your seed potato, and what you want to do is, this is quite controversial because different people do it different ways, but what I always do is knock off all of the chits like that, and what you want is 2 or 3. I'll leave them 3 on. If you have 1 chit, you're going to get few large potatoes. If you put 2 chits on, you're going to get more potatoes, but they'll be smaller. So you know, you could potentially knock that one off and have 2 chits on there. Now put the potato in, obviously chits facing up like that, and then all I do then is go along the row, putting them in like that all the way along, and then I'll hoe them up in a moment, and I'll show you me hoeing them up. But all I'm going to do is put one of the potatoes in like that, about every between 15 and 18 inches, all the way along, making sure that they're directly below the piece of string, which is just here off camera. And then when I hoe them up, I'll be hoeing from just under the camera there, back over here. I only hoe one way. You'll see there in a minute, which minimises the amount of effort it takes to do it. Okay, so that's all the potatoes in the row, and obviously they're all directly below the piece of string. Now what I can do is hoe them up, and when you're putting in multiple rows of potatoes, what you want to do is make it as easy as possible. So what I always do is only back hoe one way. So when I made this row here, I made the furrow between the 2 rows by putting what was there on top of there. Now the next one I'll make the furrow between here, going between the 2 sticks, which is why I've got all the sticks in to start with, and then basically pull the soil back over onto here to make the row of potatoes there. So I'll just show you me doing that now. Okay, and there you can see a dead straight row, and all I did was, as I was pulling up the soil, you just look at the top of the soil compared to the string, and then you make sure you got a reasonable straight line running across the plot. Okay, so I just want to give you a quick tour of how things are getting on in the greenhouse. You can see the grapevine's really, it's grown about a foot this week. We've done really well. We've had a maximum temperature of, I don't know if you can see that, 45.5 degrees in the greenhouse, which is really hot. It's actually 38.9 degrees in here at the moment. So as you can see, it's we've had some really nice weather. Everything's kind of started to shoot. You can see here I've got loads of shoots coming through. Now what I'll do is I'll wait for those to come and then cut off these dead branches, but the heat really does bring on growth. You can see at the bottom there I've got some shoots coming at the bottom. That's the Calabrese plants that I pricked out last week, and you can see how quickly they've grown. They'll basically go out in a week's time. That's the Scottish kale. As you can see, that's within a week it's shot up. The gourds are doing pretty well. Those are the butternut squash. All 8 of those have come up. The pumpkins, we've got 3 so far out of 5, and there's just the 4th one's just started to come through there. Look, so I've got at least 4 pumpkins, and that's the courgettes there. So I've got 6 out of the 8 come through there. The peppers have just started. I've left the glass on, but you can see there they're just starting to come through. So I'll just put the glass down. That one there obviously has come through, and there's some little ones here that have just started to come through, and also the chilies. I've got a couple of chilies just starting to come through as well. So actually, with the weather that it is at the minute, I can move that glass off. Moving along here, the spinach is doing really well. That needs to go out before too much longer. Another week and that will most certainly need to go out. Sweet peas are about 5 inches or so tall now. The tomatoes are ready to be pricked out, so I'll need to do those this weekend at some point. So those are the money maker, the Alicante. The ones that we put in the other day, which are the Gardener's Delight. I'm not seeing anything from there yet, as you can see, but that's what the greenhouse looks like at the moment. Right, coming out here, you can see the comfrey has grown about a foot this week. That's really coming on strong. All the herbs are starting to come out. I need to cut that back a bit there. That's the old mint plant. The old mint, that's the spearmint, I think. That's coming through where the tub that it's grown through with the underneath and come out to the top of the tub there. All of this mint's coming on strong. The rosemary's still in flower, and the bees are loving that. You're going to have to ignore this mess here. This is all the stuff I've taken off the plot. I've not seen any asparagus yet. Oh no, I'm wrong. There's some asparagus there, look. That's just started to come through now. That's a plant that was put in before, so that's not one of the new ones. I'm seeing a few shoots here as well. They're starting to come through. Now these are the new ones. Actually, that's a new one there, and there's a new one there coming as well. So they'll be ready probably next week at some point. That's one of the old ones there. That's a raspberry that can come out. That's an old one there. So that's a good sized spear there. And there's one there as well. They're coming out all over the place just to prove me wrong. There's another one there. Look. The chives are doing well. They're just starting to come into flower now, the chives, which is quite early. We've got quite unusual weather this year. It's unusually hot. That's the rest of the comfrey there. That's come through well. The raspberries are coming on strong, as you can see. The tree, this is the pear tree, still in flower. I've had plenty of insects around that, so hopefully I'll get some pears this year. Moving along here a little bit. These are the Justerberry bushes. Those are also in flower now. This is the cherry tree, so some cherry blossom coming on, and the pear tree. This is another Justerberry bush, just in flower. And the apple tree here is just starting to come through. As you can see, there's little buds forming. So that's the trees. Now, I've just come through here. You can see how the strawberry plants that I've put in so far have started to grow. I've already got in 4 rows of potatoes in there. So those 2 are the Maris Piper, and then this row here, half of it is those purple potatoes, and then the rest are kestrel. So there's going to be more potatoes on here. I've just this minute rotivated this here. So this has been all dug over. I've had 8 barrows full of muck, about 5 or 6 barrows full of wood chip, all gone in there, and that's all been dug over. This is where the tunnel was. I've just literally just rotivated this, so that's all been rotivated twice now. The tunnel's moved to here, as you can see. So what I need to do now with the tunnel is tread all the ground down inside so the ground's hard, and then drop the tunnel down a little bit, and then put the stakes in at each corner. So that's where the tunnel's in position now. Now this bit here, that's where the gourds are going to go in, that bit there. That's the rhubarb doing really well. I need to take the flower buds off. You can see a flower bud there and there. They need to come off. And then in here, this is the tunnel that was here before. Spinach is doing really well. Now these two here, come in Dorothy, good girl. These two are the large kale that was in the tunnel. What I've done is I've just potted it up, brought it down here, because what I want to do is run this to seed so I can get some seed off it. So there's actually two, there's one here and there's one there. So I did have to cut some of the roots off to get them in these pots because the roots were absolutely massive. But what I've done is I've chopped them round, put them in, and I've watered them every night since. And this other kale, this is the Scottish kale, this is also starting to run to seed. I'm still taking leaves off to eat, but I'm hoping to get some more seed off there. So that's what the allotment looks like today. So, I hope this episode was of some use to you. Please don't hesitate to put any comments or questions you've got below, and I'll always get back to you. And I'll see you on the next episode of Jim's Love of Garden.